everybody. It's Tony George. Welcome to Hoops Happy Hour. My good buddy Griff Murphy, right out of the gym. Boy, still breaking his sweat, doing all that working out. I managed my workout this morning. Griff, I'm going to give it to you. You ready?
Hit me.
All right, brother. I got up, did all my handicapping.
There you go.
Did a free-play video. Had a bowl of Rice Krispies, laid on the couch for an hour and a half, watched the PGA Championship, got up, made some lemonade, had 2 Oreos, and I'm on the air. That's my workout.
Tony, that don't sound like a bad workout to me, my man. Mine was a little bit more intense, but you know what? I'll take yours 10 out of 10 times over mine. I love it.
Well, and then we got a joint workout later this afternoon. I've got to park my car, the best kept secret in Las Vegas if you're going to Circa. You go park at the valet at the old Golden Gate. So I'm going to have to walk from the Golden Gate through the Golden Gate by the bar where Sinatra and Martin and Marilyn Monroe, they all had drinks there. You see the little Rat Pack sign on the bar. So I'll probably stop there because that's about a 50-foot walk from my car to the bar. I'm going to need to take a break, have a libation, and then I got to walk another 250 feet to Circa front door, where I'm going to be a little bit winded, no doubt, but then I'm going to go into the Mega Bar, meet up with you, have a real happy hour cocktail hour, and watch my 8-unit NBA Game of the Year totals play tonight unfold live and in person at Circa Sportsbook. That and before that and after this show is going to require me. I do got to walk the dog. I got to walk the little Tucker man. But after that, it's going to require about an hour and a half nap before I get all gussied up to come down to hook up with you. That's my workout today,
I love it, man. That sounds absolutely wonderful, brother. You know, mine's going to be a little bit more simple. I'm going to jump in an Uber. I'm going to sit on my behind the entire ride. I'm going to have them drop me off at the front door of Circa, and I'll meet you right over at the Mega Bar to watch this NBA playoffs unfold, as well as we've got the MLB slate intact, brother. Mine's going to be a lot more, I guess my heart's going to pound a little bit less than yours. Obviously, I know you're going to get a little tired on your way over there. I'll be, on the other hand, rested, and I will sit tight and be waiting for you, probably with a nice tequila orange juice. And I'll have your vodka waiting for you as well, your Jimmy Beam with a little bit of 7-Up.
Yeah, a little bit of 7, a little bit of water. I'll be ready. I'm ready for a libation. You can see Griff's got that very skinny,
no vodka,
young man look, and I got the old round fat face old guy thing going on. And I don't give a rat's ass. I'm done impressing people. I'm done. I got my lady. So 36 years of marriage this week as we celebrated our 36th wedding anniversary. So yeah, I don't have to impress anybody anymore. That's for sure. I mean, she's living in Kansas City. I'm living in Vegas. She's had enough of my shit, but it doesn't make a difference. Here we are. We're splitting time. So nonetheless,
36 years. Congratulations to you, brother.
There you go. Well, 36 years of marriage, 32 years of handicapping. I don't put out a lot of 8-unit picks in the NBA. I don't think I even put one out last year. I know I didn't the year before, so they're rare. And we got one tonight over at Doc Sports. You get a free $60. Look at the link in the description below or above in this particular case, and you can go over there and get that for free. Then pick up Griff's card. Now, Griff, you got side or total action in this game tonight?
I have a side on this one tonight, Tony.
Okay.
No total action. So I do have leans on the totals. Go ahead.
Yeah. We really can't talk about it that much other than the fact, and I don't want you to tip your hand. I mean, we work for a living, but it's been amazing to me the turnaround that Denver's put on this series. Because they looked like dog crap, really, in that Lakers series. There wasn't a game in that Lakers series where the Lakers at one point during the game did not have at least a 9-point lead in any one of those games. and yet Denver closed them out, not playing well. I haven't seen a whole lot out of Murray, even Porter recently, and yet they're still winning. And I think a little bit of the youth of Minnesota is showing up here a little bit more of that experience pedigree, returning champs, head coaching experience when the noose gets tight. You're seeing some of that. So it's going to be real interesting to me, Griff, to see how Minnesota responds tonight, because they got their ass up against the wall.
Yeah, Tony, and it does. It goes back to the younger crowd. I mean, them going into this postseason, the biggest thing for me is they have not been dominated on the boards by any means. Denver has been Minnesota has been a team, obviously, they finished in the NBA first when it came to defensive efficiency. They have the best defense, arguably, on the court at all times. What's happening right now is where they've thrived all season long is from the perimeter. They have dominated on the three-point shot. Well, in their two most recent games, they've been murdered from the perimeter. Denver took the one game in Minnesota, hitting 44%. Then the most recent game where they took them out, they hit over 47%. So that has been the deciding factor in my eyes of what I have seen. I love what Chris Finch is doing. I love how he's got Edwards and Towns really driving down the lane and attacking the boards, trying to get Joker in that penalty spot to where he fouls out. I mean, that's just about as good as you're going to be able to play against this team. Your main component is taking Joker out. Murray right now is a game time decision. I think he'll be in tonight's lineup. So right now for me, where I'm just seeing Minnesota get beat, it's from the perimeter. The rebounds, yeah, they're getting beat by a couple boards, but it's been from the perimeter. Second chances haven't been a huge take. Fast breaks have edged in Minnesota's favor, which it should. They're a younger team playing a much more veteran team. You would have expected from this Minnesota team that they came out after going 2-0 in Denver. Now the climate change, you're back home in Minnesota. You have the speed, you have the athleticism, you have the conditioning to really move the ball up and down the court a lot faster than a Denver team who's a much more veteran, taller, bigger body, older team. They're just not showing out right now. Minnesota finished the season going 30-11 at home, and now in postseason against Denver, 0-2. So tonight is really going to be an interesting matchup in my eyes, Tony.
Yeah, you can get his side and my total for free over at Doc's. We'll park $60 in a new account, and you can utilize that anywhere on the website. You don't like me, you don't like Griff, we don't care. You use it somewhere else. You got 10
this
other
is actually,
guys.
Tony, this is the first 8-unit play I think I've seen you send since I've started with Docs. I've been here a year and a half now. I believe this is the first 8-unit I've ever seen you take. So just so you know, I will be shooting you a text message after this show because I want to know where you're at with this one.
Well, you're not going to bet against me if we're going to sit and watch it, because I'll beat your ass on the ground.
I just need to know I'm on the right side, brother.
Yeah, last thing I want halfway through with any pressure is you MFing me all over the place. I got news for you, pal. I might be old, but I'm still 5'11", 200 pounds of bad freaking news if you get my bad side.
Hey, I'm not taking anything from that, Tony.
Yeah, well, one thing that I've noticed that Denver did in this series, and I agree with your counterpunch there with Minnesota, the youth and athleticism. But the one thing, when Porter wasn't playing good, Murray wasn't playing good. Murray should have been suspended after throwing the heating pad on the floor. I don't even get that. Doing the money sign, and then the guy from New York or India or whoever it was, or from Minnie does it, and he gets suspended, a $75,000 fine. But at the end of the day, two things have occurred. First of all, Rudy Gobert is the most overrated player in the league when it comes to his defensive capabilities, because he's got no answer for Jokic. And there's a reason why Jokic is a 3-time MVP. If you don't, he reminds me of a Roethlisberger in the NFL. Big Ben could get it done and he made the most amazing throws over a 16, 17-year-old career. He just didn't look polished doing it, but he got the job done. And the same thing with Jokic. He doesn't look like a Larry Bird or a Kobe or a LeBron or some of these Jordan, with all these nifty, Allen Iverson, one of my favorites of all time, with all these nifty moves, he just gets it done. Basically, fundamental, first gets the first step on him, knows how to do a nice little fadeaway. He can hit the three if they leave him open. It's nothing finesse about it. It's just flat out effective. The other thing, too, I think that Denver's done is they figured out, without Murray and Porter playing at the top of their game right now, they figured out their bench rotation and are able to rotate guys in and out and create chemistry and offense with those guys and be effective doing it when their best players outside of Jokic aren't having their best series. And that comes with experience and coaching. But yeah, Minnesota can win this outright tonight as a 2-point favorite. If, they can counter a little bit. They just haven't been able to counterpunch. So I think it's going to be a real interesting game tonight. You're really going to see where Minnesota's at the end of the night tonight.
Tony, and I did want to counter on that as well. When Minnesota played Phoenix to end that series split, the 4-0 series split, Rudy Gobert, he was leading the entire postseason out of every single player, averaging 15 rebounds per game. That was his statistic. Going into now, Rudy Gobert has gone missing. He was the X factor in why they came up with that 4-0 sweep over Phoenix. Then going into this season, he's been a clown. He's done absolutely nothing for this team. And then you roll back to Denver. Michael Porter was their X factor. He did not play good in their first series. And now he is absolutely rolling. He's all over the court. He's cleaning up boards. He's putting up double digits. And he did. Between you and me, he played like shit in the first series. Now he's playing very good basketball, and this team is stack loaded. You've got Joker, you've got Gordon in the paint, you got Jamal Murray, who I expect will play tonight, and then to finish it off, you finally have Michael Porter actually playing basketball that this Denver team needs for them to keep moving on in this postseason playoffs, Tony.
Yeah, his player prop, I think, is like 18 and a half for points and rebounds tonight. That might be worth a sniff on the over. If he continues to play the way he has. Let's switch gears to Friday.
Sure.
So the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde, Indiana Pacers. What in the world was that last night? Now, I stayed away from both games last night from a premium play standpoint. I wasn't interested in either one of them because, first of all, how do you win by 32 and hold Brunson to 18 and 2 days later lose by 30 and Brunson goes off for 44? There's no consistency with it. And now they're laying 5.5, total 215.5 tomorrow, Griff. I don't give a rat's butt if they're at home or not. How can you play that badly after totally dominating a team? And bear in mind, 2 of their best players are out. They are depth challenged at New York, and they ran them out of the building last night. And by the way, youth and experience, youth is on Indy's side. You couldn't tell that. And Halliburton, you're going to have 35 one night, 13 the next night, 31. I mean, this whole team is Jekyll and Hyde. I don't even know how to put my thumb on this one on Friday, Griff.
Yeah, you know what, Tony? This one does not surprise me as much so. I mean, just like we mentioned, Brunson got shut down in that loss. I believe he only dropped like 19 to 22 points, something like that. And going into the next game, I mean, they rolled them over. Indiana completely annihilated them. And I was asked the question, Griffin, while this game was live, getting ready to finish with Indiana taking that game, Griffin, are you surprised that New York is favorite going into this game, laying 3.5 points? And I was not, because I used the perfect example. Miami against Boston. Boston dominated them 4-1. They had one horrible game in which Miami shot 56% from the perimeter. Same same situation with Boston happened against Cleveland. Cleveland dominated them from the perimeter. So bad games happen, and you have to expect that. Another thing to go against with Indiana is the fact that they don't play good basketball on the road. They finished up 21-20 on the road this season. Their dominance comes at home, where they went 26-15. That is where they thrive. Going into that game where they finally found a way to stop Jalen Brunson, that was the X factor. Jalen Brunson holds the helm for this team. If he goes off, this team wins ball games. I don't care if lineup or not. Hart is there. He's going to clean up. Jalen Brunson is the heart and soul of this team. And if you need this guy to drop down 40 points, he's done it already 3 or 4 times in postseason. The entire scope of this defense for Indiana needs to be, how do we stop Jalen Brunson? Because if you stop Brunson, you have Haliburton, you have Pascal Siakam, and you have Miles Turner. Miles Turner has showed out all postseason long. Siakam, he has played like an NBA All-Star caliber in this postseason play. And then Haliburton, all postseason long, he's been dealing with back spasms. The one game he finally comes back to full health, he drops 38 points. I understand the next game that he comes off a little iffy. He did not play to his full potential. But when you have those 3 guys, Siakam, Haliburton, and Turner all swinging it out, playing prime basketball against Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, it's a death factor for them. Indiana outthrives them on every side of the ball, if you want to look at it like that. Where nobody is talking, and this is what is killing me, and this is what kills the New York Knicks, and I can't believe nobody's talking about it, is Julius Randle. This is when this team needs Julius Randle. They need him in the paint. If they had Randle in the lineup, this is a completely different series, and I think the New York Knicks dominate the Pacers. But without up, you're putting way too much pressure on Brunson and Hart. I like the Pacers here, Tony. I just think they're a much more talented team. I think they have more depth, and I think their 3 prime players are going to be a lot bigger of an impact opposed to Brunson and Hart really carrying the load.
Boy, they really they doubled up that game. They held Brunson when they won by 32. They held him to 18 in that game, and TJ
that's what
McConnell did a hell of a job on him, and they were doubling him. And they figured out a way to double him off high post screens, and he had no shot, no look. And they did that at home. They can't do it on the road for whatever reason, but if they do that at home, they could win this game easily. But because I don't understand them sometimes, this is going to be an in-game wager for me probably. I want to see who the hell shows up first and then do some in-game wagering. And I got a couple of player props in that one I'm going to like too. One of them involving Mr. Turner.
Okay. All right. Dude, Turner's been balling this. I love the way Turner's playing. I did want to ask you, though, what are your thoughts on these totals in Denver and Minnesota? 204 the one game and 206 the next game. Where are these lines coming from?
They're not adjusting these lines. They're pretty much leaving them alone. I don't want to make a lot of comment. I made a huge comment in an 8-unit write-up about these line adjustments and whether they're right or they're wrong. And the reason why they're doing it. Now, this total in this game, 215.5.
Yep.
On Friday, which to me, you go down the list of we'll get that on Friday. Let's look at the line history on that real quick. So
I already have a side on it.
You have all these totals, 217, 218, 220. The 220 went under. They adjusted it down 2 points, and it still stayed under the 218. They adjusted it down another point in the 121-91 game last night, and it still went under. So now they've adjusted it 2 more points. So they're at least trying to go with what the trend is in this series. When it's trending to the under, they keep dropping the points, but I don't know if the adjustments are enough. It would be do or die for Indiana in this one. They're going to pull out all the stops. They're capable of putting up 120 at home at any point in time. It's just
all season.
What they're going to do. Yeah, what they're going to do on defense. If anything, probably look at the team total for Indy in that game. Maybe take the over since they're at home. They're just like
Mm-hmm.
they're night and day, road and home. Switching gears, were you surprised last night at a 12-point win by a Dallas on the road at Oklahoma City? I was a little surprised at that.
Yeah, Tony, I was extremely surprised because I was on OKC in that game. And on top of that, OKC, they've completely dominated at home all season long.
Yeah.
I mean, what we've gotten out of this, and it's been a prime example, man. It has literally been all Luka and Kyrie. And finally, they needed PJ Washington to get a job done. And PJ came out balling. And the biggest thing for OKC all season long, and we've talked about this, and we talked about how their defense could be an issue going into postseason. Well, they come out, they clean up the Pelicans in a 4-0 sweep. Then they go into round 2, they play a team like Denver that's got a much different caliber of a team. It's not so much a depth team. It's more so we're going to rely on 2 to 3 guys to get the job done, which they've been doing. The biggest thing that we are now seeing, which you had pointed out over and over and over again, is how young OKC is. And now we are in postseason round 2, and you're starting to see OKC throughout the entire season. I believe they were top 3 from the perimeter in 3-point shots. All series long, they have shot from the perimeter like absolute crap. They have gotten destroyed. Dallas is killing them on the perimeter. And on top of that, their defense has been brutal all season long. So if you're an offensive team who thrives on points per game, who thrives on tempo, who thrives from the perimeter, and then you roll into postseason and you can't perform on any of those 3 metrics, and your defense already sucks, you cannot expect to come in here and beat a Dallas Mavericks team that has Kyrie Irving and Luka on their side, who are going to dominate you offensively no matter who's on the court on the defensive side. So was I surprised? Yes. But going into this next game, I have a lot more different expectations of how I think this outcome's going to look. That's where I'm at with this one, Tony.
Dallas -4, total 210. That's Saturday game. Dallas, the 2 games at home. Won by 4 and lost by 4, and they put the number right at 4. So smart move by odds makers, trying to figure out
50-50.
what's going on there for sure. That total's pretty sharp at 210. In my opinion, right now the Boston Celtics sitting at -150. Still the win it all, Griff.
Yeah.
They did what they had to do with Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now they lie in wait, obviously, but I'm telling you, I think if they get Porzingis back by the finals with that bad calf, I think they're going to be unbeatable, dude. I think they're going to be unbeatable if they can just ignore their head coach and use their talent. They're coached poorly at times. They came out kind of listless last night in the first half, and then did what they had to do and let talent take over. Against, if you end up playing a team like Denver, a grizzled veteran team in the finals, you don't get OKC or many. It's not going to come easy, but I still think they're the best. I still think they're the best team left standing, Griff.
Yeah, they are, Tony. There's no disagreement on that whatsoever. The Boston Celtics are the best team standing with or without Porzingis. I mean, that's an obvious. They've had 2 bad postseason games all season long, and all postseason long, and that was just due to the from the perimeter. They've been there on the rebounds. They've been there from the field. They've been there on the assists. Their tempo's been great. Their defense has been solid, and their offense is playing just like we expected them to play. The biggest thing for me right now is, if Minnesota makes it through this next round, I see it being Minnesota and Boston in the finals. If Denver makes it through this round, I see it being Denver and Boston. And those are 2 completely different variants on how I'm going to approach these matchups. I think it's going to be a lot harder for the Celtics to beat Denver in the finals, just due to the fact of the veterans, the way the Celtics can have those bad games. And a perfect example, just like they did against Miami, who Tyler Hero became this star of the game, which there's no exception for that whatsoever. When you have a Boston Celtics team that is number 1 ranked, and you have Tatum, you have Brown, you have White, you have Al Horford. I mean, if Porzingis is back, there's no excuse for you to be losing any of these games. They should have swept Miami 4-0. They should have swept Cleveland 4-0. They cannot accept that. It's unacceptable to have 2 bad games. And if you're going to play a team like Denver, who's going to come in and have Joker, who's going to have Gordon, who's going to have Murray, who's going to have all of these guys that can play like this, and they continue to show in game after game after game, there's no room for error. And I just don't think it's going to be a tough one, Tony. I don't love the -150 line for the Celtics to win the finals anymore as much as I did. The way that Minnesota came out shooting 4-0 to beat the Suns, then 2-0 on top of the Nuggets, and now they're slowing down. The Nuggets knocked them out of that playoff element. Tonight is going to be a massive deciding factor for me on how I determine the remaining postseason in my eyes, Tony.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like I said, I want to see who Minnesota is tonight, and I want to see who Denver is tonight. It ought to be a good one. And the one thing, if you do end up drawing Denver, and they should have Porzingis back by then. They're slating him for, the last week of May. So, and they still got to go through another, series to get to the finals. And of course, I have some interest in this one tonight. I don't know who your side pick is in this game tonight, but you do know I'm holding a sizable futures ticket on Minnesota to win the West. I posted that publicly right here on this show about right after the All-Star break. We did our show.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, yep.
Yeah. So that being said, if they do end up drawing Denver, one thing, Porzingis lives on that mid-range jumper, and Jokic is really good at defending that in the paint. He's not giving you 8 to 10, 12-foot shots if he's matched up. So that's going to be a great matchup. And if that occurs, it should be a great finals regardless. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing some of these young guns get in there, either Oklahoma City or Minnesota. I mean, it'd be fun to see that too. At day's end, I'm not so sure any deeper into the playoffs than right now you can win with a 2-headed monster like Dallas, because basically it's Luka and Irving, and if one of them has a bad night, they're beatable anywhere. I mean, because they don't have a lot of supporting cast. Right. I mean, so I think the sum of all the parts is greater with other teams in the West besides Dallas, although they're having their way right now with these Oklahoma City kids. And when I say kids, I mean kids. That inexperience showed up again. So, get some coaching going. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on Saturday. We'll have our picks up at DocSports.com. We've got Major League Baseball going on. Griff, you doing decent in baseball?
Yeah, I'm on a good baseball run, although yesterday I did go 1-2, not happy about it. The day before, I went 3-0 with a sweep, including a 5-unit best bet cashed. Today, I have a 5-unit play. I have a 3-pack in MLB today. I have 3 plays. And then NBA, I have a side as well. Obviously, I have a top play in NBA today. It's a 7-unit best bet. I do really like my side, so I'm interested in knowing what side you're on. So I will be shooting you a text right after this. When it comes to WNBA, I am 2-1. Cashed a ticket last night on an overplay. And then I have a prop play as well in WNBA tonight. So we have a sizable menu going in tonight. Nothing crazy heavy, although I do have a massive ticket in the NBA side of things tonight. And that ticket might be increased depending on what side you're riding on tonight, Tony, because if we're at Circa together and we're on the same side, you best believe we're going big, brother.
Be sitting at the Mega Bar with my app on this phone right here. We'll be pounding. We'll be pounding in game hedge. Hopefully, we're not having to hedge. I don't want to hedge at halftime. It pisses me off. So I hope we're both right. And of course, we're on a nice baseball. Matter of fact, my baseball since May 5th is up over $3,700. In the last 9 days, nice. I've hit an 8-unit and 2 6-units. We've had 3 top picks. I've had a staff capper. He pulled the trigger hard on an 8-unit. We banged it plus 125, nailed it. So we're on a nice little roll in baseball. WNBA fired up. Opening night loss. I get WNBA real quick since it's a hoop show. Caitlin Clark debuted 20 points her first night. 2.1 million viewers. I tweeted that out today on that game on ESPN2.
Yep.
She definitely has moved the needle of interest with that many viewers for a WNBA. That had to set a record, Griff.
It did. It was, there were more wagers placed on Caitlin Clark's game, her first game, than 3 MLB games combined. It was a new record. So yeah, she is definitely bringing attention and noise to the WNBA, which is really exciting because, hey, more heads on that. That means I get to bet more on WNBA. You know, I've never been a huge WNBA guy. It's always been obviously men's sports, but this girl has changed the entire dynamic of sports, and now it's starting to shift heads. And I start watching these girls play, and I'm like, yo, there's some ballers out here. So, yeah, really exciting on that side of things. You're really getting to see a lot and really seeing a lot of talent on the women's side of things. So it's definitely exciting. And on top of that, yes, Tony, the wagering aspect is a huge thrill going on for WNBA right now.
Yeah, back-to-back 61% or better seasons for me in the WNBA last year and the year before. And I went to about 4 Las Vegas Aces games last year. And if there's any doubt in anybody's mind that these gals cannot ball, you're out of your mind. They can ball. As a matter of fact, they're better at shooting threes than a lot of men's NBA teams. These gals can knock down.
That's what I noticed more than anything, dude. They're 40 feet out, pop.
Literally. It is fun to watch. And of course, the Las Vegas Aces odds-on favorites this year to win it all again. And why not? It's going to be kind of top-heavy with them and the New York Liberty, but there's some sleepers in there. And we're finding those sleepers for you, catching some points or doing some halftime lines, or like Griff doing total. So get all the plays over at DocSports.com. If you're in town, catch me and Griff down at Circa later today. We'll be down there by 4 o'clock, 3:30. I like to beat the traffic and stop by and say hi. We'll be at Circa at the Mega Bar somewhere watching games, enjoying some big ticket caches. Get over to Doc's and join us. Hey, Griff, thanks for coming on. And I'm thinking we're going to know the outcome of these series, so we'll do the happy hour show like maybe next Tuesday, so we can start.
That's cool. That works for me.
Get too deep into these, and we'll run that by our producer Jeremy, and we'll follow us on Twitter at G Murphy. What is it? G Murphy Wins.
G Murphy Wins. Yep.
At G Murphy Wins. Sports. At G Murphy Wins. We'll give you updates on there when the next show's coming up. Thanks for coming on, Griff.
Thanks, Tony, as well as on my Twitter and on my Instagram. You guys can go check out my stories. You can get a free $60. Obviously, I have never seen Tony drop an 8-unit NBA Play of the Year, so that is something that I would most definitely jump on. Remember, free $60. Go check it out, guys. I'm going to be on that play as well. As long as we're on the same side, we're going in heavy. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Tony.
Yeah, check out Griff's Instagram because he puts a lot of little videos up there where they're dropping bricks of hundreds in front of him at the payout window, just so you know that we put our money where our mouth's at. We're just not blowing smoke up your butt right here, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.